All right, obviously excited to come down here, get a win. Football's hard, and it was good for these guys to find a way in the end. But certainly proud of the start, proud of some progress. We've talked, most of us in here have talked several times about trying to make that progress, and certainly took at least some semblance of a step today against a good football team.
Front right.
Jason Kersey from The Athletic. Alex, I mean, what can you say about Kenneth's performance today? He seemed to be kind of all over the place.
Well, he was, and you see a guy playing fast, you see a guy playing confident. Coach Odom does a great job with that linebacking core, but you see a guy that doesn't have to be a blitz to get him active. Get him active in the backfield. We have some leaders on the defense, but you circle him, you circle Nev, and some of those guys, and in your big games, your best players have to make plays. There's no other way around it. And you saw a guy playing fast, and saw a guy that obviously had major impact on the result today. So very pleased with Kenneth, and you see what type of player he can be for us.
Front right in front of you.
Dean Blevins, News 9 Sports. Coach, when did you feel you don't ever have control of a game?
Sure.
When did you feel really good about what you were seeing from your guys that you could go slug it for 3.5 hours?
Well, to your point, I mean, you never feel good, but what you saw was, I thought effort was, and it continues to be. So it wasn't the first Saturday that we've given tremendous effort, but you saw guys, a group of guys playing a style of play in terms of playing downhill, playing fast, playing aggressive. And so when you do that, you give yourself a chance to be successful. I mean, football's hard, but the complexity of it kind of gets dumbed down a little bit when you play with extreme effort. That's what you saw, and very clearly, evidenced by kind of the finish to that football game. How hard it is to maintain that, and the unwillingness of a very good opponent to relent at all. And so obviously don't anticipate that. It's a 4-quarter game, and certainly I think you saw a group of guys that maybe gained confidence as the game went on, but you also saw that when you make plays, you're a good defense. When you don't make plays, you're not very good. There's no there's no stuff. It's going well or things are good. No, we're playing well. There's an individual performance attached to those things. And so when we did those things, we had a chance to be successful, and by and large today we were.
Front and left.
Yeah, Barry Trammell with the Oklahoma. And Alex, you had 9 sacks. You pressured Ellinger, and you didn't let him really run. You contained him pretty well when he did run. Those blitzes you dialed up, many of them from pretty deep in the secondary. Why were those so effective in containing Ellinger?
Yeah, and so much what you try to do defensively, it's not specific just to this game, is you want to be multiple. You don't want to get in a rut, if you will, in terms of calling the same stuff or getting the exact same looks, and so try to be multiple that way. And some of that includes obviously initial pressure at the snap of the football. The other side of that is as the plays extended to make sure that one, you have someone accounting for the quarterback, which we weren't 100% on today either, but having that initial picture for a quarterback look a certain way. If you're lucky enough and skilled enough to have initially good coverage, you kind of buy time for maybe that second level of your defense to get home. And so you got to be selective with that. Obviously, if the ball comes out of his hands, it's not a real good blitz, And so there's a couple instances today where we reaped the benefits of it.
Standing on the right.
Yeah, Alex. Brian Davis, Austin American Statesman. When you're studying Texas, how much did it help that LaTeX and Rice and the earlier opponents, they tried a lot of different things that didn't work. But was there enough of stuff there to draw up a blueprint? Like, hey, with our personnel, this will work.
Well, really what so much of what we do, and it's not coach speak, is we really focus on the things that we do. And instead of drawing up things in the dirt that particular week or on the sideline, we really commit to making sure that the package is extensive enough that you have enough to draw from on a week-to-week basis. You may not run the exact same things every single week, but having enough and enough pictures for an offense, enough movements for offensive linemen to have to handle, as best you can, trying to hold disguises for a quarterback so that you're not giving them pre-snap indicators and some of those things. And so was there something specific on film? No, what you saw on film was a very, very talented quarterback, a very good offensive football team that demanded our respect, fortunate to get out with a win today.
Front left.
James Hale, Sports Talk 1400, The Ref. Alex, they kicked a field goal at the end of the first half, and they also were getting the ball to start the third quarter. You came out and stuffed them at that point. How important was that defensive series for you to maintain your edge going forward?
Well, it's huge, and like a lot of coaches do, you kind of use the example of a prize fight in terms of kind of next round, and again that's not a unique motivational tactics that we use, but that's a piece of it. And one of the other things we made a real emphasis on for these guys is just how hard it is to one, have a fast start, then number two, at some point, after that initial quarter and a half, there's no more feeling out at that point. It's you're going to get their best, you got to deliver your best, and momentum is real, and it certainly is as real as you make it. But and so that was certainly an emphasis at halftime to come out and play our best football to start the third quarter.
Second row on the right.
Glenn Brockenbush, Lawton Constitution. Alex, you said there wasn't necessarily any one thing or two things that you saw on film from Texas that you felt comfortable with, and yet your defensive backs seemed to be in their receivers' shorts all day, and you guys had 9 sacks. Clearly, there was something that that they were doing that you guys saw during the game that you liked.
Well, we wanted to attempt to play aggressive coverage, and what you see, some of the things that happen when you do that. Obviously, a couple pass interference calls, and I'll have to explain to Coach Riley. But I met with the DBs yesterday, and I said, if we don't get a couple PIs, we're not playing good enough football, and put that on me. I think we got a couple too many, but in any event, you got to be aggressive. My whole thing with aggressiveness in the secondary. What's the alternative? If the alternative is not better than being aggressive, then let's not go down that road. And so, you got to pick your spots. Obviously, there's smart aggression, which is kind of the term that we use, and then there's the other side of it where you just do it to do it. Again, specific to Texas on film, no. I mean, they big receivers, and you see them make plays on film, and a quarterback that can deliver it, a quarterback can extend plays. And so, we knew we had our work cut out for us, and it was going to take both elements of that. It was going to take, some coverage holding up, certainly early in the down. We knew they were going to complete some balls and use their size advantage, get boxed out in some of those situations. And that's something obviously we got to analyze. Maybe we got to mix up coverages more as the game wore on. But an aggressive back end, coupled with aggressive front end, you have a chance to be successful. And in the end, we had playmakers on our defense today. And the minute you don't, you become very, very average. And so that's something that's got to continue for us.
Second row on the left.
Alex, Pete Thamel from Yahoo. Coach Riley mentioned mindset and aggression. How do you instill that in a team? It's obviously not something you can do with a great talk or a great play. Walk us through a little bit about the installment of the mindset that's got this program defensively to this point.
Well, I think what it is people talk about culture, and then it's the ecosystem. It's everything. It's the air you breathe in that building, and trying and at the risk of sounding too dramatic, but since this defensive staff got together in January, it's just been an onslaught on our part to try to instill it, and it's a daily conversation amongst coaches and players. Obviously, it's a weight room mindset with Coach Wiley in there. You can't wait till spring football to start, and then when spring football comes around, you got to be willing to have some tough days and really have honest conversations about what's good enough. You got to break them and build them at the exact same time. Say it's not good enough, but we can be good enough. And then you certainly can't take the summer months off. So it's not one talk, it's not 1 week, it's none of those things, but it's all of those things. And so that is something that as a defensive coaching staff, and obviously a head coach that believes in some of the things that we're doing. It's a daily, and it's something that the minute we stop. it goes the other way. And so that's you're never fixed, you're never there. Again, football's hard, and playing defensive football in 2019 is extremely difficult. So it's something we got to continue.
Front right.
Yeah. Alex, you said earlier this week you would be naive to downplay a rivalry. You talk a lot about aggression. So how do you view something like every player on the team getting a personal foul before the game starts?
Yeah, and that's and I said to Coach Riley, it might be the best thing to happen to everybody, and I mean that just there's to eliminate all the clutter that goes in the game. And one of the things we talked about with the guys today was distractions diminish you, and you got to make sure that you're very cognizant of that, and so that in a lot of ways I think eliminated some of that clutter. It was pretty cut and dry at that point. No talking. It was obviously a constant reminder on the sideline, but it's an emotional game. All those things, you want to be on the brink of kind of being out of control, but obviously that's something that can't happen, and fortunate that nothing past that happened.
Two more, back center.
Alex, John Hoover, the franchise and Sporting News. Kenneth has talked a lot about watching Bosworth on tape and watching Rocky Kalmus on tape and watching Teddy Lehman, guys like that. He wants to be the next one to win the Butkus. Do you feel like that manifested today? Those guys had some of their best games ever in this game against Texas. You feel like he has been inspired by that?
Well, I think he has. I think it also speaks to just the eliteness of this program. I think when you have visuals like that at any position, but obviously specific to Kenneth at linebacker, to say do it like them. Obviously, this day and age, different football, all those things. It may not be from a specific technique standpoint, but certainly there's a visual for that. You come to Oklahoma to play a certain brand of football. You come to Oklahoma to play in these type of games. You come to Oklahoma the same. There's not just to be all conferences, it's to be all American. If you're the best defensive player at Oklahoma, should be in the conversation for national awards. If you can do it on offense, don't tell me you can't do it on defense. I think he's just one of those guys, and again, credit goes to Coach Odom in a lot of ways instilling that in him specifically. But I think he's one of those guys that's very, very conscious of that, and obviously he's backed it up. And so, today was exciting to see that. And as a defensive coach, when that play kind of breaks down, I'm looking for 9. Go save the day, bud. And a lot of times he did.
This will be the last one at the podium, third row on the right.
Yeah, Coach Max Olson from The Athletic. At the start of the day, kind of where were your nerves or your excitement at? And, as you get more comfortable with this team, kind of where's your confidence in calling blitzes and calling things in games like this and in these league games that can get pretty explosive?
Yeah, I mean, what happens in regardless of the stage, I mean, a football game breaks out, and so I don't think it's different that way. I think I don't think I'm different than most coaches that way. Once you kind of get to game day, but certainly what a venue. I mean, there's I think I said early in the week in terms of downplaying the magnitude of the game. Such a historic rivalry. That bus coming in, going through the fair. I mean, I don't know what else would compare to that, And so certainly thrilling to have an opportunity to be a part of it as a coach, and then specific to the performance that way. Again, you focus on us when it comes to the all that stuff is why you do this at a place like in Oklahoma. But in the end, from a football standpoint, so much of the emphasis this week was focusing on us. Prepare for our performance.